At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back in the future.
Sutter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SutterHeyman.com.
Summer is near. Now's the time to clean or replace your furnace filter to get the most out of your AC. Find energy saving tips at les.com/save-energy.
The Butchery by Venue is Lincoln's premier specialty grocers. Take the quality of Venue home with you with our hand-cut steaks, handcrafted burgers, and locally sourced offerings. Browse our wide selection of specialty products designed to enhance your dining experiences with cheeses, spices, sauces, and more. We also have an exclusive collection of liquors, whiskeys, and bourbons at prices you're sure to love. Stop in to the Butchery by Venue today, located in our Venue at Home storefront at 70th and Pioneers, just 2 doors down from Venue Restaurant and Lounge.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is Adam Carriker on The Ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker. The Missouri 25.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's
on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. All right, I was out last week, had some things pop up. But ladies and gentlemen, going forward through the rest of the football season, and yes, football season is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Fall camp is here. Once August gets here, I consider it football season. Through the rest of the football season, each and every Monday from noon to 1 p.m. Central Time, the fastest hour in radio each and every week here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's Adam Carriker on The Ticket. Grab your lunch. Come join me. Hopefully something intelligente comes out at some point. We have some fun, talk some Husker football. Today, I've talked Big Ten football the past few times I've been on this show, but I feel like conference realignment is a major thing that needs to be talked about. We've got the Big Ten up to 18 teams. We got the Big 12, going to have 14 teams this year. Oklahoma and Texas are going to leave. Then they're going to be up to 16, even though they lost 2. And then you got the Pac 12, 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do. Are they just going to absorb the Mountain West? Is the Mountain West going to absorb the Pac 4 into the Pac 16 or the Mountain West 16? Or who knows what's going to happen? What's going to happen next? Okay. Who's going to be the next team to join the Big Ten? I don't know how soon or how long it's going to take, but I don't think the Big Ten's done, nor should they be. Let's be honest. The rich get richer and the not so rich get even less rich. Sorry, Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford. How does Stanford get left out of this equation? I know it's a smaller school. Okay, but the academics, and also you look at the name prestige, you look at the one school that has more championships across the board. When you look at every single sport, it's Stanford, more than any school in the entire country. In fact, the Pac-12 had more championships across every single sport than any other conference in America. That doesn't seem to matter that much, does it? Okay, I'll tell you why. I think North Carolina might be the next team to join the Big Ten. What's Notre Dame going to do? Is their arrogance going to bury themselves? Okay, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I'm sorry, because I'm not. And I'm tired of them having their cake and eating it too. And it's about time they choke on their cake just a little bit, not too much. Or a lot, because this is a metaphor and not real. Now, here's what I want to talk about here on the show today. A lot of conference realignment stuff. Who's going to go where? Who's going to do what? What does this look like? What does this mean for college football? Is this good? Is this bad? All right. Let's talk at 12:30 with a Husker legend, a guy that I grew up watching, Mr. Barron Miles, defensive back here at the University of Nebraska from 1992 to 1994, all-conference performer, had all-American mentions as well. Okay, been a coach in the Canadian Football League, a defensive coordinator for a number of years now, and one of the greatest special teams players of all time, okay? Owns Nebraska records for blocked punts, 7. Total block kicks, 13. All right, the special teams, or as some people I know like to call them, the special forces, He's one of the best, if not the best, to ever do it here at the University of Nebraska, especially when it comes to blocking kicks. That'll be at 12:30. Then, as always, we've got the People segment at the end of the show today. The last 10 minutes of this show is the People segment. And as always, call or text 402-464-5685. Let me slow it down. 402-464-5685. Send me your questions, your comments, your concerns. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I welcome a plethora of opinions. Okay? I want to hear your thoughts. The People segment, the last 10 minutes of the show, I will get to your questions. All right. Now, real quick, I want to give a shout out. You've driven by GE Landscape and Supply countless times, likely without knowing, at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. Now it's time to stop in. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. They sell in bulk to save you money. Buy anything from a 5-gallon bucket to a semi-load, and don't forget, they deliver anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, near or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, and 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627. Now, a couple of exciting things that are going to be happening. DP Derek Pearson and I are working on, and I have mentioned this in the past, me coming on Mondays and Fridays and having content each day, whether it's talking about the Big Ten, whether it's the Carriker Chronicles themselves being spread out from noon to 1, and me being live Mondays and Fridays, hopefully by the time the football season starts. So that is something we are working on. More content here on the ticket. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. I hope you do as well. Now, the Carriker Chronicles returned a week ago. I got to give a shout out to the Chronicles. The host is kind of ugly, funny looking, but he talks really fast, so maybe you'll find him entertaining. My first interview, Prince Amukamara. I personally have never heard Prince Amukamara do an interview since he graduated from Nebraska. And even when he was at Nebraska, he didn't do a lot. Then Roy Halou, a guy who's even more off the radar because he doesn't even have social media anymore. The last post he has on Twitter, and it was him, if you look him up, it's something about Evan Royster, who was the other running back that came in, that was drafted the same year Roy was, out of Penn State. And they were roommates, and he's making a crack about, is Roy going to do something in the room? I forget what it was, but that's from like 10, 12 years ago. So 2 Husker legends and 2 guys who don't talk much. Okay, go to YouTube, check out those 2 interviews. And today, 54 minutes from now, right at 1 p.m. Central Time. Actually, I take that back. It dropped at noon. It dropped 6 minutes ago. I missed it. But don't go check it out until 54 minutes from now, when this show's over, at least. My Tom Osborne interview, where I ask him about Matt Rule. I ask all the questions I think the people want to hear answers to. Matt Rule, what happened under Scott Frost? What went wrong? Okay, Coach Prime, what's Coach Osborne, the GOAT, what's his opinion of Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and what does he believe year one's going to look like here at the University of Nebraska? Go check out those interviews. Hopefully you enjoy them. The ones from last week, the one that's just dropped 6 minutes ago with Coach Osborne. And then on Thursday, I'll drop my interview with defensive coordinator Tony White. And I had a great conversation with him before and after the interview, and the interview was even better. All right, let's get in to conference expansion as it hits college football once again. All right, 2024, you're going to see a plethora of new conferences with the Pac-4, if it's even still around at that point in 2024, the Big 10, Big 12, and SEC adding and subtracting members. Now, as we know, Texas, their little Longhorn network, and their buddy Oklahoma, they're going to SEC country. All right. Now, the Big 12, a couple of years ago, myself included, I wasn't sure how in the world they were going to still be around in a few years. Yet here they are, not only still around, but growing and getting stronger. Now, if you've listened to me over the past month or two, I have talked about how I think there's eventually going to be 3 super conferences. Okay. I think there's going to be a 20-team Big Ten conference, a 20-team SEC conference, and somewhere between 20 to 29, 30 teams in a potential Big 12 conference. Basically, whoever's left over is going to go to the Big 12, a conglomerate. Now, if they take every single team that is not in the Big 10 and SEC that is a current Power 5 team, Okay, they would have 28 teams. Notre Dame, having their cake and eat it too or whatever, assuming they don't go Big Ten or SEC, which they very well might, probably should. But part of me wonders if a few years rolls around from now and the Big 12, or even not so many years, maybe just a few months, I don't know the way this stuff is going. Sure fun to watch, sure entertaining. Whether it's good for the sport's a whole nother conversation, but maybe the Big 12 gives Notre Dame such a ridiculous deal. And Notre Dame says, hey, we're going to go to the Big 12 because we can be the big dog. We can get way more than our fair share of the pie. And the Big 12 would obviously do that because it gives them a little bit more credibility, kind of like Oregon and Washington are coming in at less than everybody else in the Big 10. Now, 6 years from now, Oregon and Washington will be full-fledged members. Their piece of the pie will be the same as everybody else. Can you think about that for a second? When Oregon first joins the Big 10 conference, they're going to make less money than Rutgers. How crazy is that? But 6 years from now, Phil Knight, Nike, Oregon, Washington, which has a beautiful stadium and campus right off of Puget Sound right there when it's not raining, absolutely gorgeous. They're going to be making the same amount, but they came in for less. I wonder if the Big 12 will get Notre Dame way more just to give them to come in. Notre Dame being Notre Dame might take and they go to the Big 12. I digress. So if they take every Power 5 team that is not currently, that would not be in the SEC and Big 10, okay? There is currently 68, plus you add Notre Dame, because they're, the one Power 5 independent, if you want to look at it like that, 69. I've always wondered why UConn with their basketball, and I get it, small market, maybe not as appealing, but with their basketball program, they could potentially be a Power 5 program again, like they once were. I don't know if they will be. But the Big 12 could have up to 28, 29, 30 teams, or they could just say, hey, we're going to cherry pick the top 20, which could leave schools like Washington State, Oregon State, Cal out in the cold. I look at Stanford. That's a school that definitely needs to be in a power conference, in my opinion. I know they're a little bit smaller, but the name brand, the success they have across the board in athletics as an overall whole, I guarantee they end. I would think they'd end up somewhere. Okay, I predict North Carolina is the next school that joins the Big Ten. Okay, I am hearing that the Big Ten and SEC really want Virginia, and I kind of understand that to a degree. It's the same reason they wanted, like Rutgers, Big Ten wanted Rutgers and Maryland. And Virginia's good in basketball, and they're decent in football at times. Okay, they have some things to offer, but it's more from a monetary, we're going to make money off this school and off this state situation than it is, being as highly competitive as some of the other schools that some of these conferences are trying to add. It's all about money. It's all about the moolah, dinero. We all know that. I don't personally believe this is the best thing for college football. I think college football's foundation, the fan base, the tradition, the history is so strong. Nobody's going to go anywhere. We're just going to talk about it like I am right here, right now. And then we're going to debate if it's good or bad. And then it's not going to matter because college football is just going to keep on doing its thing and growing and getting bigger and stronger because the foundation of college football is so strong. It's never going to go anywhere, nor would I want it to, obviously. So for me, I look at the ACC and I'm like, you better take some actions. You better solidify schools like Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, Miami, or they're going to go to the SEC. Or North Carolina is going to go to the SEC or ACC. Same with Virginia, which seems to be appealing to the Big Ten and SEC. You better do something or you're going to end up like the Pac-4. And we will march toward those three big conferences one day, potentially, Big Ten, SEC, and the Big 12 just being a, hey, geography doesn't matter at all. Let's just be a gigantic conglomerate of whoever's left over. And again, I don't know if they'll pick the top 20 out of the 28, 29, 30 teams they can pick from, or maybe they just take everybody. Because I will say this, having a Oregon State, I've been to Corvallis numerous times. I've ridden four-wheelers up and down the Oregon coast numerous times. Every summer, I go with my dad. I believe I've talked about that here on this show before. And then my football camp for my high school team was always in Corvallis at the campus of Oregon State. Okay, it's a wonderful place. It's not the biggest place. I don't have the biggest fan base in the world. But I would think having the Big 12 in Oregon somehow is better than not having it at all. Washington State, Pullman. I mean, I don't know how anybody recruits to Pullman, Washington. That's not disrespectful. That's just my honest opinion. There is literally nothing there except snow. Every other year, the Apple Cup is in like 2 feet of snow when they play Washington. I don't know. I mean, people want to say, hey, how do you recruit to Nebraska? Well, there are things that to draw people to Nebraska. How do you recruit to Washington State? And I grew up 2 hours from there. So I can say this because I've been there. I went on a recruiting trip there. All right. But I would think having a foothold of the Big 12 in the state of Washington, it's small, Washington State's a lot smaller than UW. I would think that's better than not having anything at all, but I don't know. That's what I think we're going to end up with one day. What I'm curious about now is what does the Pac-4 do? What does the ACC do? Are they just hiding around the corner, hoping nobody notices them? Good luck with that strategy. The Pac-12, okay, as it currently is, nobody's left, like they're not leaving just yet. They've got another season or two. But a couple of years ago, when the Big 12 looked like it was dying, the Big 12 reached out to the Pac-12, talked about a merger, talked about taking some of their best teams over. The Pac-12 said, we're just going to sit here. We're going to sit on our laurels. How'd that work out for you? My advice to the ACC, I would not do that, or you're going to end up just like the Pac-4. The Pac-12 at the time made the worst business decision I've seen somebody make since 2000, when Blockbuster could have purchased Netflix, and they said no. How did that turn out for them? How many Blockbusters do you see still around? Everybody uses Netflix, and Netflix wasn't even good at that point in time. Their content was awful. I never used to go to Netflix. Blockbuster said, hey, we're the big dog. We're going to be short-sighted. And in about 22 years, when Adam Carriker talks about us, he's going to talk about how we used to be around. Kind of like Babies R Us, Toys R Us. Who saw them going away? My point is you've got to be proactive. You can't be reactive. You got to be ahead of the curve. You can't be trying to catch up to the curve. So I'm curious what the ACC does. Because the next thing that's going to happen, the Big Ten, the SEC, they're going to go after Clemson, Miami, Florida State, North Carolina, Virginia. Okay. I do predict the Big Ten ends up with 20 teams, the SEC with 20 teams. Okay. I'd be surprised if Clemson doesn't go to the SEC and at least one of the two Florida schools down there, Florida State or Miami. If I'm the Big Ten, I'm trying to get North Carolina. I'm trying to get one of the other Florida schools for recruiting purposes. The 4 top recruiting states in the country, for football specifically, Texas, Florida, California, Georgia. The SEC has a stronghold in 3 of those states. The Big Ten has a stronghold, sort of, in 1. If we could get into Florida somehow, it would help us get a lot more speed throughout our conference, okay? And I think it would help us recruiting-wise as a whole. Now, if I'm Miami or Florida State, I'm probably going to choose the SEC for a couple of reasons, geography being one, the fact that right now they're considered the top conference in the country, probably over any other conference. But if I'm the Big Ten, I'm trying to get Carolina, I'm trying to get one of those Florida schools, and then I understand the appeal to Virginia, but I'm sorry, I just can't rank them in the top 2 or 3. They're about 3rd or 4th on my list. All right. You look at the Big 12 this year. This is the one year the Big 12 is going to have this opportunity to have Oklahoma, Texas, UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and BYU, along with all their regulars, Iowa State, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, all those teams. I think the Big 12 is going to be a fun conference to watch this year. You got teams that are leaving. How do other teams react to them? You got teams that are coming in. How are they viewed? How are they viewed by the teams that are leaving when they play each other? I've looked at a lot of these schedules. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be quite entertaining to me to watch the Big 12 this year before Oklahoma and Texas leave in 2024 and before some of the other schools eventually join as well into the Big 12. But this is the year, the one year, they've got UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, BYU, Oklahoma, Texas, and all their regulars. Okay, again, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, et cetera, et cetera. To me, the Big 12 is going to be a very interesting conference this upcoming season to watch. The Big 10, adding Oregon and Washington. In my opinion, it was just inevitable. Oregon and Washington are going to look around and they're going to be like, well, USC and UCLA are gone. We're not going to make a lot of money. Can't even get a media rights deal. Let's go for less, make less money for a little over half a decade, go to the Big Ten, and then eventually we can be a full-fledged member and make a lot more moolah in about 6 years. To me, that move just made a lot of sense. especially for the Pac-10 if they could get Oregon and Washington initially for a little less. Now you've got the gigantic Seattle market. You've got Nike. You've got Oregon. Oregon has become a national brand. They were not when I was like 10. I remember when Penn State played them in 94 in the Rose Bowl. And I was like, Oregon? Aren't they that team with the angry Daffy Duck? Or is it Daffy Donald Duck out of the side of their helmet? That's how I thought of Oregon. And they were actually known for defense. They were known as Mean Green back then. Like, are you kidding me? First play of that game, Kajana Carter takes it about 80 yards for a touchdown. I was like, yeah, here we go. Oregon's come a long ways. They're a national brand now. So to me, that move was just inevitable, especially the way the Pac-12 was struggling. You look at Colorado going to the Big 12. I mean, let's be honest, that's directly connected to Coach Prime. That does not happen if Deion Sanders is not Colorado's head coach. Whether you're a fan of Coach Prime or not, he is highly entertaining. He is someone I'm going to talk about a lot because he is someone that I find quite interesting and intriguing. And when he got some heat from some other Pac-12 coaches recently, man, I loved his response. He's like, I've been a game changer my whole life, ever since I was a kid in youth football. Everybody's been coming at me. There's nothing unique about this. Why would this be any different? In other words, he's going to go on about doing his thing, which endears him to me because how you handle criticism tells me a lot about a person because it's not as easy as those might think, especially if you got a lot of it. He's obviously got a love going his way as well. But Colorado made a great decision when they hired Deion Sanders for several reasons. Now, whether he wins or loses on the field is yet to be seen. I'm just talking about from every other angle and area that they benefited from. Starting with the fact that they jumped ship from a dying Pac-12 10-8-6-4 onto the Big 12, which somehow was almost dead 2 years ago, decided not to just sit and wait, decided to be proactive, and immediately added UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, BYU. Now they may be one of the 3 or 4 conferences left standing after the Pac-4 is dead, after the ACC. We'll see what they do, but if they're still around in a few years, there may be a mass exodus of ACC schools. We may wake up one day in a month or 2 or 6. Oh, these 7 ACC schools went somewhere else. There was already, though, Magnificent 7 that was shopping around earlier this spring, earlier this summer, which included Miami, Florida State, Clemson, NC State, a lot of those schools. I think Colorado going to the Big 12 was really the death blow to the Pac-12. Immediately, Arizona State take off. Utah takes off, which they were going to go somewhere. They've been too good of a program lately not to go somewhere. I was mildly surprised the Big 12 took both Arizona schools. I would have thought they would have just taken one. And admittedly, Arizona State is a lot closer on a competitive level than Washington State is to Washington or Oregon State is to Oregon, although Oregon State had a good year last year, but that's up and down. Every once in a while, the Cougs have a good year too. I almost thought that they'd just take one Arizona school, but they took both. So the Big 12 added 4 schools eventually down the road. So they're going to be up to 16 once you add these 4 schools and subtract 2 schools, and name is Oklahoma and Texas. So this is quite entertaining, quite interesting for me. Now, I've been asked this question probably the most. Is it good for college football? Probably not. I doubt if it is. You start from a rivalries perspective. How many rivalries are going to be lost? For years, college football was based on rivalries. I still miss Nebraska, Oklahoma year after year. There's a bunch of other rivalries that I miss as well. Something as simple as Pitt and West Virginia, the backyard brawl. We used to have that all the time. Now you're not going to have the Apple Cup, Washington State. You're not going to have the Civil War, Oregon State. Okay, something as simple as Kansas and Missouri. All right, I don't know how up-to-date people are on rivalries, but I love rivalries. And those are some of the things that we're going to lose with this, obviously. The big brothers are getting bigger and the little brothers are getting angrier. That's kind of what's happening across college football right now. Now, you look at this upcoming season. And to me, it's going to be interesting across the board because I wonder how much more goes into these last couple rivalry games that an Oregon State has, Washington State has. How much more interesting are they? Feeling like they're being jaded, Washington State, Oregon State. Those rivalry games become more interesting before they go away, unfortunately. So you look at Nebraska, okay? and you look at a potential, and this is actually from @HuskGuys on Twitter, a potential Nebraska 9-game conference schedule could look like this. I'm just going to read their tweet. All right, @HuskGuys on Twitter. Nebraska's potential 9-game conference schedule could look like this. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Ohio State, Michigan, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Iowa, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington. And then he goes, folks, we need to get good, and we need to get good fast. Yeah, no kidding. Talk about scheduling non-conference patsies, and I will have no problem with that whatsoever, if that's what a potential conference schedule looks like. Holy Moses Malone. Now, real quick, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Miles Farmer. Okay, and then I got a break here in about 30 seconds. We got to pay some bills, folks. When you look at Miles Farmer, this is a guy who started 16 games throughout his career, was the second leading tackler last year for Nebraska, suspended by Matt Rule, and now he's entered the transfer portal. Here's my take from this. Matt Rule is setting a tone. He is building an actual culture, not just pretending to. Because you look, our leading rusher from a year ago, Anthony Grant, was suspended to start spring ball, if you remember that. Okay, former Nebraska tight ends coach, Bob Wagner, no longer our tight ends coach. And that was just 3 days before fall camp. You can't tell me that didn't cause some difficulties on the coaching staff and trying to figure things out. Now, they have someone who stepped in right away. Some people think maybe we're better off. I don't know. When it comes to Matt Rule, he is going to demand that you be disciplined, held accountable, and he is setting that tone right now. And, Miles Farmer hitting the transfer portal, nothing but love, nothing but respect. I've actually been a fan of his. I'm sure he'll land on his feet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we got former Husker and a Husker legend, Mr. Barron Miles.
IT projects piling up again? Managing IT can definitely be frustrating. Whether you have an in-house IT department or you manage it yourself, let Hamilton be your experts. At Hamilton, we take the frustration out of your business tech issues with managed IT solutions. We specialize in co-managed and fully managed IT. Does your business need better managed IT? Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street-legal carts come in both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Are you ready to upgrade your combine? Don't wait. Act now to choose from the widest selection of used combines at Acres Equipment. Acres, Nebraska's leading John Deere combine dealer, is offering 2.9% interest for 60 months on over 100 pre-owned combines. Each combine includes our A-plus uptime program to keep you running flawlessly throughout harvest season. Go to acres.com to view a huge inventory of low-hour, late-model equipment. Find what you like, and we'll deliver to your farm for free. Acres, solutions for every field.
Arnold's Tavern in Havelock is the place to be this summer, and the best place in town for shuffleboard. Come on Wednesdays and learn from some of the best players in town for the Shuffleboard Corner. Come on Sundays for Open House League all day starting at 11 a.m. and enjoy $3 tall boys and $3 wells. Shake off the start to the work week with karaoke on Monday nights. And don't forget, happy hour is every day, 3 to 6 p.m., and you are always welcome to bring in your own food. Arnold's Tavern in the heart of Havelock.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and Koppel's big summer sales event is kicking off into high gear with lots of fantastic offers still going on. We got 0.9% interest rates and trade-in bonuses on select new models. I know it all sounds too good to be true, but yes, 0.9% interest rates right now at Koppel. Also, we're ramping up our back-to-school vehicles, and our pre-owned inventory is filling fast. We've got great new pre-owned and GM-certified units ready to roll, so stop on by the dealership or online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, It's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Vershawn Jackson for Brant Excavating. Brant's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brant is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brant Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to brantexcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brant Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Brand!
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Summertime is in full swing, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. Deck City, your local deck experts.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Adam Carriker on The Ticket. And a couple of things real quick before I bring on a Husker legend, Mr. Barron Miles. So real quick, the Carriker Chronicles website will be launching 1 week from tomorrow on August 15th. You can check out that Tom Osborne interview that just dropped 32 minutes ago here at noon on YouTube. The 93.7 The Ticket, everything I'm doing here will be on that website. The Big Ten Show, the Carriker Chronicles. We got Carriker's Crew with Corn Craze Connors Hayden. You got John Johnston of Corn Nation, Ashley Spitznagel. I just called Rob Zadiska trying to get Doc Talk on the website as well. You got merchandise. You got all sorts of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. 1 week from tomorrow, August 15th, CarrikerChronicles.com. Also, keep an eye out in the near future. I'm going to be doing more things here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right. And as far as today, hit me up, the People's segment. What do you think of conference realignment? Are you excited that Oregon and Washington joined? Should Stanford be in the conversation? Will North Carolina be next? Am I crazy? Should North Carolina not be in the conversation? Should it be Virginia? Should it be the Florida schools, Miami, Florida State? Should we just be going after Clemson and try to take them from the SEC before the SEC gets them? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, the People's segment, last 10 minutes of this show. Call or text 402-464-5685. That's 402-464-5685. Now, real quick, a man that I grew up watching. I've had the pleasure of meeting him as well as his son. I don't know if they remember it at all. Hopefully they do. I remember meeting them. All right. He was one of the top cornerbacks and special teams players in Nebraska football history. First team all-conference in 1993, 1994. Top 10 in Nebraska football history for PBU's pass breakups. Okay. Number one in most block punts ever, with 7, number one in most total block kicks ever, 13. Helped Tom Osborne win his first national championship in 1994. Also, All-American mentions. Okay, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer, Nebraska defensive back, black shirt from 1992 to 1994, Mr. Barron Miles. How you doing, my friend?
Not too bad in yourself. Not too bad. Hey, that sounded pretty good.
You know what? Anytime I bring a guest on, I like to give them their due justice. People need to know who they're hearing from. And you, my friend, are one of the guys that I grew up watching. I immensely enjoyed your career, what you were able to accomplish. Real quick, before I forget, Barron is joining me on the VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where we understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Now, Barron, I want to go backwards before we go forwards a little bit, if that's all right with you, because I've chatted with Rob, okay, Doc Talk, Rob Zadiska, and he mentioned to me a couple of times that the most talented team he ever played on at Nebraska was actually in 1992. So what are your thoughts on that, the talent of the 1992 Nebraska football team, okay, and why was 1993 and 1994 even more successful in your opinion?
Oh, the most 92. Yeah.
You can disagree with him. He's wrong all the time, so it's okay. You can let him know.
I can't say that. I would have to go. Oof, I would even have to go 94, 95. That's pretty tough. Yeah, 94, 95.
Well, Rob wasn't there in 95, and he claims that 95 was just all of 94's backup, so 1994 would have beat 1995. So those are his thoughts on that. But talk to me about this.
I agree with that, too, because I wasn't there in 95 either. But
okay.
I was around a lot, so I got to know him. So I agree with Rob on that point.
All right, so
for sure.
You heard it here. 1994 Nebraska would beat 1995 from Barron Miles and Rob Zadiska. It is a fact. Just know it. All right, 1993. Talk to me about that Florida State game. You guys go in 16, 17-point underdogs. You're the number one team in the nation. You're the undefeated team. Florida State had lost to Notre Dame. Now they had Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy winner. Okay, and Trev Alberts was a monster in that game, running around with a cast on his hand. But talk to me about that night, that game, and really what that meant for the Nebraska football program heading into that 1994 season.
That was our stepping stone. That was our turning point. That was we had a lot going in on that one. I think for me, especially now being a coach, I think that probably was our best scouted game that the coaches gave us. We knew everything about them, what they was going to do. They lined up in certain positions, what route it was going to be, what play it was going to be. And we was pinpoint on, and I was trying to jump every little morsel I could have, just following their game plan. And that was a game for us to win, and we poured everything into it. And we didn't come up with the victory, but at the same time, it led to bigger things, and it led to our legacy as it grew from that point on.
Now, talk to me, because some teams, they're a little bit more predictable than others. When we played Oklahoma, when I was at Nebraska, we knew that they were going to start every game in a brand new formation with a whole new set of plays. But they were the only school we ever played against that really did that. So Florida State, did they not change much between the regular season and the night you guys played them that much in that night in the Orange Bowl?
They did not. They was Florida State. They figured they was beating. They was going to beat up on Nebraska. You know, we was going to come in there, be slow, fumbling, not athletic, and just beat us. And they was very athletic, but at the same time, we was athletic as well. And I think we surprised them, and they took us for granted, I'm pretty sure. And we gave them a butt kicking. And Charlie Ward was actually he was a very good quarterback. And he deserved every accolade he got, because it was some balls I thought I was going to get, and he looked away and threw somewhere else. And I was impressed. I was impressed by him, because I was jumping everything, and I was ready to make my plays, and he was throwing no-look passes and everything. So I think, they was very athletic. They didn't change that much. They was just who they were, and it was their show for Bobby Bowden.
All right, I'm joined on the Aloe Fiber VIP line by Husker legend Barron Miles. Now, talk to me that night about Trev Alberts. because I was a big Trev Alberts fan as a kid. Then Grant Winstrom was next. The impact he had on that game with the cast on his arm, because that was his last game as a Husker. Talk to me about the impact he had on the game plan going into the game that night versus Florida State, Charlie Ward and Bobby Bowden.
He was a great leader. It was quiet. It was subtle. He had jokes, but everybody took to him, and he didn't have to say too much. And he led by example. He knew how to push the buttons. He knew who to push buttons to. And I think, honestly, we came there with a focus and mindset to do a job, and Trev just led. And Trev did what Trev Alberts do on the football field, and that's why he was the guy he was, and all the accolades he received as well. He deserved it because of what he showed on the football field. But a lot of the guys at that point in time, getting ready for the bowl game, guys were geared up and ready to go from the start. It was just Trev pushing little buttons here and there and just making sure everybody was ready to go.
Now, for those who don't know, Barron is the defensive coordinator up in Canada for the Ottawa Red Blacks. So I want to ask you this question from two perspectives. One, you played in the game as a player, obviously. Okay, but also now being a D coordinator, looking back on that night. So I'm going to go to the next year. Okay, 1994 National Championship. I believe it was New Year's Day. I could be wrong on that, but New Year's Day 95 versus Miami. Now you had on your birthday the game-sealing interception on your birthday to seal that game versus the Hurricanes. But a lot of people, myself included, remember the fourth quarter, Miami being exhausted, the physical run game taking over. But if you go back and you watch that game, I think somehow it's almost overlooked how the Black Shirts dominated the second half of that game versus Miami. Frank Costa barely able to stand, his jersey muddier than my kids when they go outside to play in white clothes. They didn't score almost the entire second half. The last 28 minutes and 19 seconds of that game, Miami did not score. What adjustments did you guys make at halftime that really just kind of shut them down?
Honestly, we didn't have any adjustments. We just played. We kept our calm, cool, and was poised. Let them make mistakes, but we knew what they was going to do. We knew who they was trying to get the ball to, and we played our defense. We just lined up. We was going to play man, like Charlie McBride would always say. Corners, you're going to win and lose the game for me, for us, and you got to do your job and do your part. And that's what we had to do. We had to cover their receivers and let the front affect the quarterback as much as possible, and that's what we did.
Now, you're the father of current Nebraska wide receiver Barron Miles Jr., and I assume you've chatted with your son a little bit, so whatever you're comfortable with sharing, feel free to share. If not, no big deal. But what have you seen so far? What has your son mentioned as far as some of the differences early on in Matt Rule's tenure, some of the differences between Coach Rule and the past couple of seasons here at Nebraska?
I just think he's just really getting to know the coaches as well. And I think being a non-recruiter guy from Rule, I think they made him feel a little welcome. And he's just happy for that. I think he's trying to find his way around the different avenues there is at the university. As a dad and as a coach, I wear both hats, and I give him two different perspectives, and I just let him know that the coach wants to see an athletic person. He wants somebody that's going to flash on the football field and make things work. And if you can make things work, you got a shot. If you're a guy that needs extra help and they got to coach you and do different things like that, those are guys that are harder to keep around, because I want a guy that's going to just play. I call a play, and he's going to make it work for me. It should work to a point, but if they happen to run a good defense to stop what I'm running, the athlete's going to take over and make the play work for me. So that's what I tell him. I tell him keep his head up, keep working, do the little things, and the group, he got to learn. He got to know who he's talking to. He got to know who he's around. and I think Rule and them are setting the stage for something special.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, as always, here in about 10 minutes or so, 8 or 9 minutes, the People's segment. Call or text your questions, 402-464-5685. And as always, I will try to get to as many questions as I can possibly get to. I don't think I've missed one yet. So again, the People's segment is counting down 8 minutes or less, 402-464-5685. Send me your questions, comments, and concerns. Now, I got to throw this one out there. We have a rather youthful wide receivers coach here at Nebraska. There was a few things made about that when he was first hired. As a former player, a coach yourself, your son is a wide receiver. What was your reaction to a young wide receivers coach being hired at Nebraska? Was this something that was kind of on your radar? Did you not bat an eye at it? What was your thoughts?
I didn't bat an eye at it. A coach is a coach. They hired him. He qualified. He's going to put his best foot forward. I think as a dad and as a coach, I told my son to listen, do what needs to be done, understand, show him respect, and play football. That's what you're there for. Go to school, play football, and do the right thing. So whether he's however old he is, it doesn't matter. I think you just owe that coach, whoever it is, the respect that he is your coach, and that's what you need to follow.
It was interesting when I was at the Rams. The D-line coach that was there when I was drafted was Brian Baker. Now, he was an older guy, old school guy, very hard-nosed old school. Within a couple of years, we had a new head coach and a new D-line coach, and it was Coach Daly, and he was a younger dude. And he was younger than about 4 of the guys in our D-line room and a little older than me. And I remember thinking, I looked at the vets. How are they going to react to this guy? Because they're older than he is. They've been playing football longer than he's been coaching it. Leonard Little, Leroy Glover, James Hall, who was on that 97 Michigan team. Yeah, we had many Nebraska-Michigan debates. Okay. They looked at me, and it was funny. They said things very similar to what you said. He was hired for a reason, Adam. He's here for a reason, Adam. You're a young guy. You're trying to figure out a new position as a nose guard, but you need to listen to him because he was brought in for a reason. So I really followed their lead. And after I left St. Louis, I went to D.C. Within 4 years, the Patriots won a couple of Super Bowls. I think 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and Coach Daly was on that staff. And I was like, holy smokes, he must be doing something right. So you're right. A lot of time, guys get hired for a reason. And so it was interesting when hoopla was made after he was hired, but as long as he keeps doing a good job, which I've heard good things so far, age is nothing but a number. All right, man. I'd be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts on conference realignment. All right, you're a guy who played in the Big 8. I don't think you ever got to play in the Big 12 or anything like that. But what are your thoughts on college football and where it is currently headed?
I've been up in the Canadian world for a long time now. I haven't been following it too much, but the young guys that come up here and talk about their conferences and things like that, I'm old school with the Big 8. I wish the Big 8 still was alive, but I know the money and everything happens, and they got to realign. But I think it's adding new familiarity to different conferences. But there's nothing like a good old Oklahoma-Nebraska game. So I'm old school with that fact. So I don't know which way I'd really lean, but there's nothing like a Oklahoma on Thanksgiving Day with Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Man, I'm with you there. And I talked earlier about how our non-conference schedule could potentially look in a year or two with Oregon, Washington, Iowa, Wisconsin, Ohio State, Michigan State, potentially all these teams. And I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to be, standing on the table demanding all these tough non-conference games anymore. It might be smart to maybe save ourselves a little bit. What are your thoughts on that before I let you go?
I agree. That might be the best bet because you're going to end up beating yourself up in the conference play. You want to be healthy. It's going to be a long stretch. It's going to be ground and pound, especially when the weather change. So, you might want to get a lesser opponent in non-conference.
All right, Barron, I appreciate your time. I look forward to seeing you at a Husker practice here in the near future. Thanks, my friend.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
All right, Husker Nation. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to upgrade your combine? Don't wait. Act now to choose from the widest selection of used combines at Acres Equipment. Acres, Nebraska's leading John Deere combine dealer, is offering 2.9% interest for 60 months on over 100 pre-owned combines. Each combine includes our A-plus uptime program to keep you running flawlessly throughout harvest season. Go to acres.com to view a huge inventory of low-hour, late-model equipment. Find what you like, and we'll deliver to your farm for free. Acres, solutions for every field.
Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Smoked meats, amazing sides. The only problem when they fix you a plate is that at some point, that plate will be empty. But hear me out. What if that plate was never empty? That dream can be your reality with the Mary Ellen's Express Lunch Buffet. From 11 to 2 every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday. One price, all you can eat, and it even comes with a drink. Tell your boss you're taking a long lunch and get down there. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake. Let them fix you a plate.
If you want all the latest technologies from those big banks, but you also want that hometown feel when you walk in the front doors, choose Midwest Bank. They have top-notch technology. They make banking so easy, and they also have the friendliest staff who will take their time to get to know you and treat you like family. You get the best of both worlds when you choose Midwest Bank. I live on the go, and now I can bank on the go. With Midwest Bank, I have everything I need at my fingertips. I'm volleyball player Allie Batenhorst, and at Midwest Bank, you'll love banking here.
Warning, this ad will use the F word often, so listen at your own risk. Family fun, fun with friends, freedom from fuel, free Yeti cooler, free driveway delivery. Hey, this is Carl from Nebraska Golf Carts and Priced Right Auto, and we have the all-electric Bentelli Fun Carts, and they are a blast. Plenty of fun colors, and these street legal cars come in both 4 and 6 passenger. Tell us you heard us on the ticket and get a free Yeti cooler with your purchase. Hurry, supply is limited. Check them out at 1235 West O in Lincoln or NebraskaGolfCarts.com.
Summertime is in full swing, and it's time to get to work on outdoor projects. Deck City is a great place to start as Lincoln's local source for everything decks. Deck City has everything you need to build the deck of your dreams, from treated lumber to Westbury aluminum railings and TimberTech composite decking. They offer advice from real deck professionals to give you proper guidance to make your project go smoothly. Call them today to schedule an appointment at 402-480-6671. Go online at deckcityne.com or visit their new location just north of 33rd and Cornhusker Highway. Deck City, your local deck experts.
Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends. That's the greatest compliment we can receive. If you've been in an accident, we'll get you back in your vehicle as quickly as possible. Our technicians care about you and your family and repair your vehicle to factory standards. We handle your claim from start to finish and provide a free loaner car. Stop by for a free estimate. Eustace Body Shop, just south of 88th and Highway 2.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Lane's Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you don't just get a great workout, you get a great perk out because your membership is packed with perks. For $1 down and $24.99 a month, you'll get perks like access to any of our 2,400 clean and spacious locations. Bring your friend anytime and both work out with tons of equipment that'll give you that big fitness energy. Relax in the Black Card spa and more. Work out and perk out with the PF Black Card. Join for just $1 down and $24.99 a month. Join the judgment-free zone today. Deal ends Thursday, August 10th. See Home Club for details.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here on 93.7 The Ticket. It is time for the People segment. I got multiple questions. Keep them coming. 402-464-5685. You can call or text that number with your questions, comments, or concerns. Real quick, don't forget to go to gelandscapesupply.com, or for more info, call 402-467-1627. Also, 1 week from tomorrow, August 15th, CarrikerChronicles.com. The website will be live with a plethora. I wonder how many times I've said that word today. Somebody should count and let me know on Twitter. A plethora of things to check out at CarrikerChronicles.com. But let's get to the People segment. All right. The first question I have here, Professor Rick says, do you think Oklahoma and Texas are wishing they were staying in the Big 12? No, I don't. Now, let's check back in 5 years. Let's check back and see how they compete against the SEC teams. I think the fact that they're joining what is considered to be the top conference or whatever in the SEC is probably exciting. They're going to make more money. There's more security. The Big 12 seems to be doing just fine, but there's nothing guaranteed about really any conferences outside of the SEC and Big 10 right now. I think in 5 years, if they've competed well, they're going to be through the roof happy. If they haven't, maybe they reevaluate. But either way, I don't think they're going to look back at the Big 12. I think they're happy to go to the SEC. All right, BIB also says, I believe Notre Dame and Pitt would fit well in the Big 10. Maybe even Syracuse and Virginia. Notre Dame, obviously, yes. Pitt, I think you're kind of getting into the world of we've already got Penn State. Does Pitt bring enough monetarily? It's about money. Are they going to make more money to offset having to divide our whole piece of the pie with another school? An argument could be made. No, I don't have those exact numbers in front of me. I do think Pitt is one of those schools. I think when it comes to the Big 10, maybe not. Same thing with Syracuse. Now, I know the SEC and Big 10 are interested in Virginia, and that's more monetarily motivated than it is anything else, although Virginia does have really good basketball teams, won a national title within the past 3 to 4 years, decent football teams. But I think that's more monetarily motivated, where I don't know that Pitt is going to bring in that same type of money when you've already got Penn State, which is by far the biggest, most well-known program in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania is one of the top 3 or 4 most populated states in the country, so maybe that changes. Pittsburgh's a large city, but right now I think that's where we stand. Gene in Lincoln says, I personally believe that Duke and North Carolina should go to the Big 12. They are basketball schools. Clemson and Free Shoes University should come to the Big 10. Now, I had to message Rico. I'm like, who's Free Shoes University? So Rico and I both think it's either Florida State or Miami. Now, I would love for Clemson or Florida State or Miami to come to the Big 10 for things I've already mentioned in this show, getting a foothold into recruiting into what is known as the Speed State, also known as Florida, would be phenomenal. Obviously, Clemson's a really good football program. Okay, Dabo Swinney's done some really good things there. I think that would be great. I just think they're going to go to the SEC. As far as Duke and North Carolina, when the ACC, when they had their not the ACC, but schools within the ACC had their Magnificent Seven earlier this year, it was like Clemson, Florida State, Miami, Virginia, North Carolina State, not Duke, included in that Magnificent Seven. Duke may be similar to Stanford, high academically rated, highly thought of, okay, really good at sports not named football, and their football program is better than it once was. I don't know if that carries enough weight, especially when you got another school in your state named North Carolina, which has more name brand recognition, has a better football program year in and year out, and just as good as basketball typically year in and year out. So for me, I mean, you got North Carolina with nearly 10 million people, actually just over 10 million people, one of the top 10 most populated states in the country. When you talk about trying to get eyeballs on your product, I think North Carolina would be a great fit into the Big 10. I'm not saying Duke wouldn't. I just think North Carolina is going to be a better fit. And again, does Duke bring enough monetarily to make sense to the decision makers in the Big 10 to divide up their Big 10 pie one more time with another school? Maybe not. So maybe Duke goes Big 12, maybe North Carolina Big 10, possibly. Okay. And somebody let me know, is Free Shoes University, is it Miami? Is it Florida State? Are we way off on that? If we're way off, I'm totally blaming Rico. All right. Todd in Auburn says, Todd from Auburn, what team out there do you feel is the best fit for the Big 10? So I've talked about North Carolina. Now, who would I want? I'd want one of the Florida schools. I'd also want a North Carolina school, a Clemson school. I think right now the best fit is North Carolina. A natural fit is Notre Dame. I don't bring them up because they're Notre Dame. They think they're better. They think they're special. They get to have their cake and eat it too. I mean, at a certain point, doesn't their cake get dry and doesn't taste as good? I mean, I wouldn't shock me one day if they join the Big Ten. The two most natural fits are Notre Dame, North Carolina. I just think Notre Dame's, they think of themselves in a different level, so they're going to make decisions based on how they view themselves. And again, maybe they end up joining the Big Ten. I mean, why they're a member of the ACC really makes no sense to me outside of football, even though they have to play 5 ACC teams every year in football to have their other sports in the ACC doesn't make sense. They just kind of march to the beat of their own weird drum. No disrespect, just my thoughts. They might end up in the SEC. Just about any conference is going to take Notre Dame for obvious reasons. But something in my gut tells me the Big 12 is going to give them a ridiculous offer. They're going to say, hey, we're Notre Dame. We're going to do what we want. And they may end up in the Big 12 one day. Also, the Big 10 SEC could work too. Unnamed texter says, do you think there will even be a non-conference part of the schedule? Oh, Rico says, don't blame me if we're wrong about Free Shoes University. Okay, Rico, I won't blame you. It's Rico's fault. All right. Do I think there will even be a non-conference part of the schedule? That is a great question. It could be a situation where all the Big Ten teams just play Big Ten teams, same with SEC. But then when you start to think about the money that you make playing other schools, when you start to think about, hey, we don't want to beat ourselves up, maybe we can play some of these non-power 4, 3, however many power conferences there are. They're going to look around and they're going to say, hey, we don't get preseason games like the NFL, some of these major college programs, and they're going to say, hey, let's go play UAB. Hey, let's go play, some of these smaller schools, okay, Northern Arizona, so we can use these as preseason games, not beat ourselves up. Also, if we want to play, like, let's say Notre Dame goes Big 12, and USC obviously is Big 10, that's a big-time rivalry. It's a big-time moneymaker. They're probably going to want to keep it, and if they're not playing non-conference games, they can't play each other. So I do think there will be non-conference games in the near future. I mean, there are non-conference games right now, but I think the non-conference games are going to stay for a couple of the reasons that I just mentioned. Okay, using them as a preseason game, so to speak. Also, if you want to schedule a big name school, I mean, it is a big moneymaker. It's just that cost evaluation of how much do we want to beat up ourselves in the non-conference versus make money versus save ourselves for the conference, and maybe we get some more wins because we're not as banged up. It's that constant walking that line, trying to figure it out if you're a decision maker at a Major 1 college football program. All right. Until next time, Husker Nation, go Big Red. And always remember to throw the bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. The home of Kansas City Royals baseball. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Vershawn Jackson for Brandt Excavating. Brandt's been in business for 29 years, and they specialize in a variety of things. If you're looking for someone to get the job done in precision demolition, excavating, trucking, mass grading, and site prep, Brandt is the place to call. To set up a quote or learn more, call Brandt Excavating at 402-474-4113 or go to BrandtExcavating.com. They're also hiring, so join the team today. Brandt Excavating, a part of the Bauer brand, who reminds you, go Big Red!
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire